Thank you, Annika, so much for joining us today for our Made in Texas series. We are so excited about your film, and we're so glad that you could be here with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Why don't you start with telling us a little bit about the project itself?
Of course. Well, the film is an animated documentary about the experiences of women in aviation. And it starts in World War II and it goes through the 70s up until the present day and features interviews with women working both in military and commercial or civilian aviation.
The animation in the film is really eye-catching, and you incorporate different styles. Can you talk to us about the creative and technical decisions behind your animation process?
Of course. The first thing I did was I compiled all the footage and audio that I had recorded. So that was in Chicago and at Sweetwater and in San Antonio a bit. Then I made a radio edit of all of those interviews. I did a 2-column script, which I think people often use for music videos. So on one side is the audio, like the dialogue or the interview. And then on the other side is like, here's sort of a suggestion of what will appear visually. And I gave the animators a decent amount of creative liberty to sort of think about how they want to tell the story and what sort of shots they want to do. So it's definitely like each animator kind of had this chance to like have their spotlight on their style. One of those is Alex Bugg, who is just incredible. There's also Haley Barngrover, animated a lot of the film. Each story has a little bit of a different setting or a different tone to it. So there's some rotoscope in there. There's a lot of 2D. Some of it's really bright, vivid colors, and then some of it is black and white, sort of to indicate, this takes place in the 40s. And then there's a little stop motion at the end too, which is quite fun. I love stop motion.
About the WASP Museum in Sweetwater, the museum itself, it's open for visitors, right? So can you tell us a little bit about the museum and what people might see?
Yes, of course. So the museum is in Sweetwater, Texas, where the airfield was, where the WASP trained. And you can look at, the planes that would have been flown by the WASP, and they also have an exhibit of what their accommodations would have been like, what their barracks looks like. It's a very charming town, Sweetwater. It's near San Angelo, and the museum is just quite well run and very open to the public.
Can you talk a little bit about how you conducted the interviews, whether they were on camera or just voice recordings, and how those experiences went and how it went for your interview subjects too?
Yeah, of course. I found that recording audio only was beneficial for the film in that if you stick a camera right in someone's face, 5 minutes after meeting them, it does make people kind of freeze up a little bit. And it's easier to share and feel comfortable just with a conversation rather than having to, get people in the glam makeup or whatever and just really like get kind of in their space a little bit more. It was easy to just sort of to float around the room and pull people aside and say, hey, can you chat about your career?
Yeah, something to keep in mind for film students and budding filmmakers.
Yeah, it's very portable too.
Do you have any other projects on the horizon?
Yeah, I'm working on another animated doc with a friend of mine about writing a novel. We're both screenwriters, and so it's kind of a comedic take on our creative process and the struggle of like writer's block and inertia and getting something done. So that's been something very fun that I'm working on. And I also had another script, which was a dramatization, like a 1-hour TV pilot based on the same history. So right now I'm really focusing on some screenwriting goals for the next few months.
Great. Thank you, Annika, so much for joining us today for our Made in Texas series.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.